For this next story, we want to warn you, the facts are gruesome. But as you will see, daring escapes aren't only attempted in the American legal system. As we head over to Russia.
Тебе решение суда понятно?
This is 18-year-old Leonid Grazer, who's on trial in Moscow, Russia, for the murder of his sister, Aradia Koral. According to the defendant, he was commanded by Satan to kill his 21-year-old sister, who he stabbed multiple times. Today, Grazer's in the Sherbinsky courthouse behind the walls of a glass cage. This practice is rarely seen today outside of Russia to prevent dangerous criminals from attacking or possibly even escaping, which is exactly what Grazer's planning to do. It appears now that Grazer's calmed down, but moments later, he somehow has slipped through the slats at the top of the bulletproof security dock. A gap in the video doesn't reveal how he did it, but Grazer's way ahead of them. But he's not giving up. The female officer runs over and presses a large button on the wall, calling for backup. Grazer's pants are coming off during the escape. The officer has a firm grip on Grazer's leg and is not about to let go. Then another officer arrives. At this point, these Russian officers are not playing around. As the taser comes out, he makes sure Grazer knows what's about to happen. Grazer's finally had enough. After putting his pants back on, Grazer will go on to make a full confession for the murder and said he had no regrets about what he did. We go to the Veterans Memorial Courthouse in Lansing, Michigan, for the trial of 35-year-old Joshua Harding, who's been charged with 2 counts of sexual assault. There's Harding. 2 prosecutors represent the state, including Jonathan Roth, who, prior to sentencing, asked the court to consider a sentence on the higher end of the guidelines. At the far end of the table is Detective Brian Kanan, the lead investigator in the case against Harding. The jury's reached a decision in one of the cases and is about to read its verdict. In under 8 seconds, so much has happened. Let's look at it again. If you look a little closer, you can see Harding remove something from inside his sleeve. Turns out Harding is holding a metal shank. Harding storms the prosecutor's table, headed straight for Assistant DA Roth. If not for the quick reflexes of Detective Kanan, Roth could have sustained serious injuries. 2 court deputies immediately take action to help bring Harding, who stands 6'6" and weighs 280, to the ground. Watch as Roth removes his glasses to take a step towards the scrum. A spectator points something out to Roth. It's the shank. Meanwhile, Kanan and the 2 bailiffs are still wrestling with Harding. It took about 30 seconds to eventually cuff and remove the defendant from the courtroom. This brazen attack brought Harding an additional charge of assault with intent to murder, to which he pled guilty. As for the original charges, Harding was found guilty of second-degree criminal sexual conduct and is now serving a combined sentence of 44 years at a state prison. The earliest he could be released is the year 2064. Authorities are unsure how Harding got the weapon into the courthouse. Because Harding was in police custody during the trial, he did not have to pass through a metal detector upon entering the courthouse. He also was not required to wear handcuffs. We go to the Juvenile Justice Center in Nashville, Tennessee. It's after 9 p.m. 4 teens aged 15 to 17 have been left unsupervised while on a work detail, off camera in the basement of the building. As minors, these boys are staying here instead of jail while they await trial for crimes including armed robbery, auto theft, and murder. And as you can see, they don't plan on sticking around for their trials. They've just come up a basement elevator and are wearing what appear to be yellow security vests. While one of the young men begins making his way down the hall, he changes his mind and follows the others up the stairs. When they get to the ground floor, the teens bolt through the front entrance. No one's stopping them. Cameras catch the entire escape. For now, they've made it and run off into the night. Eventually, all 4 involved in the escape were caught and could now face additional charges. It's later discovered that the 4 teens likely had help from the inside. 2 employees are terminated and arrested for assisting the juveniles in their escape. And this wasn't the first time a juvenile tried to escape this exact same juvenile facility. We go back just 2 years earlier. And these staff members have been tracking a teen as he makes his way through the ceiling, just a few feet above their heads. Though he's just out of reach, the ceiling begins to give way. The ceiling doesn't hold, and the defendant crashes through. Security's not giving up and immediately surround him, as his daring, though poorly planned escape comes to an end. Watch again as the juvenile makes one last effort to flee. Security's taking no chances of letting him escape again. He's unhurt and immediately taken back into custody. After this incident and the most recent escape, the city of Nashville is considering taking over operations of the privately run center. We head to Seattle, Washington, and the King County Courtroom.
This is State of Washington versus Christopher Teal, cause number 181008391, Seattle designation.
Christopher Teal is accused of first-degree rape and unlawful imprisonment. Teal allegedly followed a woman into the bathroom of a car dealership, locked the door, and raped her. The attack was stopped only after company employees broke into the stall and wrestled Teal to the ground. The defendant's in court for a competency hearing to determine whether he's fit to stand trial. Standing next to him is Reed Birkland, his court-appointed attorney. The jail guard removes Teal's cuffs.
I'm Emily Peterson on behalf of the state. Mr. Teal's present. He's in custody. He's represented by counsel, Mr. Birkland.
He raises his arm toward Birkland, but extra security's at the ready.
My understanding from his counsel, who I'll defer to in a moment.
Without provocation, Teal punches his own attorney.
Get down! Face down! Face down! Put your hand behind your back!
The guards immediately pounce on the 6'3" defendant and take him to the ground. Teal's attorney looks to be unhurt.
Put your hand behind your back.
It takes 4 men to subdue Teal, and even then, he refuses to go quietly.
Bring the chair. Bring the chair.
A spit hood is placed over his head as officers return him to jail. Birkland chooses not to press charges, but he does remove himself from the case. Nearly 2 weeks later, Teal returns to the courtroom,
New counsel has been appointed since the last hearing.
this time strapped to a rolling chair.
New counsel needs time.
His biggest concern is how his hair looked in his mugshot.
I got one question, one thing to say. I'd like to know where the they got that photo of me with my short hair. Because that was on Facebook, and I don't have a Facebook.
All right.
So you're on the legitimate question. Like, do they have access to Google?
The judge schedules another hearing in a week's time, and the trial has yet to begin. We're in the Miami-Dade Bond Court.
Good afternoon. I'm Judge Mindy Glazer. I'll be presiding today over the bond hearings.
Today, she'll see dozens of defendants.
You were arrested for retail theft, and I'll appoint the public defender for you.
But one in particular is sure to stand out. The defendant is Sherry Lynn, who's facing charges of felony battery and resisting arrest with violence. Lynn appears remotely and is represented by a public defender. And from the very first question,
have you ever been treated for any mental health issues?
Why don't you yourself first?
it's clear Lynn is in no mood to be in court.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
I said go yourself.
Okay, well, I'm a little busy right now.
Take another look.
I said go yourself.
Judge Glazer initially finds the behavior amusing, but she's not about to let it continue.
Ma'am, I'm just trying to help.
Ma'am, he's trying to help you, and please don't use profanity or try and disrupt my courtroom, because I don't want to be forced to hold you in contempt of court. All right, Mr. Snyder's trying to help you. And I'm ordering that you stay away from Cynthia Cuba. Do not have any contact with her, and you must stay away from her home or place of business. As to the other case...
Who is this Cynthia Cuba? Tell me!
I
Where the
you allegedly tried to hit with the pliers. The other case, F-51-426,
right from
the bond gun case is $5,000.
Leave town 2 and 3.
Two, it's $5,000, and count 3 is $1,000. Have a nice day, ma'am. We'll try and get you into the hospital.
Lynn's ordered to pay a $50 fine and undergo a psychiatric evaluation.
He's high risk, so I'm going to raise the bond to $5,000.
We're at Bond Court in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, I think $1,000 is reasonable given that these are felony charges. Good luck, sir.
Judge Smith has a full plate of bond hearings.
I actually have a car that I'm trying to sell on Craigslist.
Stop talking. I'm going to give you a public defender.
Michael Ray, cases 87 and 88.
Next up is Michael Ray, who's facing 4 charges, including criminal trespassing and second-degree assault. A bond or a bail hearing is usually a quick proceeding if the defendant is cooperative. The prosecutor suggests a bail amount for Ray based on the crime and the defendant's history.
Your Honor, the county's requesting $25,000 full cash fine, all charges.
You think that's funny?
I think it's hilarious.
We weren't done.
Ray might feel $25,000 is too high, but sarcasm won't get him a reduction, and the judge lets him know it.
All right, so bond is $50,000. No bail credit, danger to community. Thinks these are funny charges. He's lucky I didn't hold him in contempt.
Ray just had his bond doubled. But as he re-enters the hallway, he has something else to say.
Hope I see you in the street.
Bring him in. I'm holding him in contempt. Adding charges.
Ray's language isn't the only thing to upset the judge. According to court officials, the defendant also gave her the middle finger.
30 days to serve on contempt for flipping me off twice.
Judge calls him back, but it looks like he's gone.
If we bring him back in, he's just gonna get another 30 days for doing something else.
So they move on to the next case.
Case number 90, Scott Raymer.
When, sure enough, Ray comes back for more.
Oh, here he comes. Sir, I'm holding you in contempt for what you did.
What you holding me in?
And so,
You shut up, man.
All right, you can take him back. 100 days to serve.
100 days to serve? Okay.
Yep.
For what? Because of 2 EPOs and a criminal mission case?
That's right, the judge just gave him 100 days in jail.
He's done.
Ray could just walk away without making matters even worse, but he goes a different route.
Yana, I think we need to.
Yeah.
Can we bring him back?
He's got to be charged. Yes.
What started out as 4 serious charges has grown into a grand total of 10, all in the span of approximately 3 minutes.
Yeah. No, I figure that's just a lesson on what not to do, so you all are good.
Thanks for being a fan of CourtCam. Subscribe to A&E to never miss a new video and catch full episodes on aetv.com.